God-level duplication system. Chapter 241. Highest treatment. In the courtyard, Zhang Yukin was teaching his junior brother Wuxin martial arts. When he saw Lin Xuan enter, he greeted him with a faint smile. "Lin, you have returned from your training." But in the next moment, when Zhang Yukin sensed Lin Xuan's chi, he was stunned. His eyes widened, and he stood rooted to the ground with a look of disbelief. He couldn't help but exclaim, "Lin, you've broken through to the second level of spiritual essence stage?" His voice was trembling. Wuxin, who was standing next to him, looked over when he heard what he said. When he sensed Lin Xuan's chi, he was stunned on the spot. He couldn't believe it. The two of them had never thought that Lin Xuan was still at the 8th level of spirit opening stage, not even at the peak of the 8th level of spirit opening stage. He had only gone out to cultivate for a night, but he had already broken through so many levels. He had broken through to the second level of spiritual essence stage from the 8th level of spirit opening stage. There was a total of a small 4th layer and a big realm among them. Lin Xuan had almost broken their common sense. Both of them had never heard of such a terrifying cultivation speed. But at this moment, they had witnessed it with their own eyes. How could the two of them not be shocked? Both of them fell into deep shock. This also showed how extraordinary Lin Xuan's talent was. Both of them had a clearer understanding of Lin Xuan's talent. "I'll be going back first." When Lin Xuan heard this, his expression was calm. After replying, he quickly walked towards the interior of the courtyard. Zhang Yukin and Wuxin stood blankly on the spot, looking at Lin Xuan's back. It was not until Lin Xuan entered the room that the two of them gradually recovered their senses. However, their expressions were still stunned, and their eyes were wide open. Clearly, they had yet to recover from the extreme shock. "Senior brother, has Lin Xuan really broken through to the second level of spiritual essence stage?" Wuxin asked Zhang Yukin with a trembling voice. Until now, he still couldn't believe it. "Yes, Lin Xuan has really broken through to the second level of spiritual essence stage." Zhang Yukin let out a long breath and replied with a bitter smile. Now, Lin Xuan's cultivation base had reached the second level of spiritual essence stage, and he wasn't any weaker than him. The only pride in his heart had been struck. Before this, when Lin Xuan was still in the 8th level of the spirit opening stage, he could defeat him with a single strike. Now that their cultivation bases were the same, he was afraid that he would be even weaker than Lin Xuan. When he thought of this, Zhang Yukin felt a sense of defeat in his heart. He no longer dared to compare himself with Lin Xuan. There was no comparison at all. However, Zhang Yukin immediately thought of what Huiyuan Zhenren had said before he left. Perhaps Lin Xuan is the #1 genius in the history of Scorching Sun domain. He will reach an unprecedented level in the profound essence list. Zhang Yukin murmured in a low voice, and his expression turned into one of excitement. When Wuxin heard this, his body trembled slightly, and he became very excited. What Lin Xuan didn't know was that his cultivation base had given Zhang Yukin and Lin Xuan so many connections. He casually entered an empty bedroom and sat on the bed with his legs crossed. He began to absorb the many treasures that he had duplicated outside the spirit gathering tower. These were the treasures that belonged to the geniuses of the various small domains, as well as the treasures that belonged to the top genius of the Mingchang region, Niyangkang. These treasures had cost him millions of energy points. After absorbing them, his strength, potential, and talent would increase by a lot. There was no room for delay. In an instant, a surge of warm current surged throughout his entire body and his mind. Lin Xuan's aura was also steadily increasing. Congratulations. The host's cultivation talent has improved. Congratulations. Host has broken through to the rank 9 low-grade martial skill when treading art. A few minutes later, after he had absorbed all the treasures, Lin Xuan looked at the attribute panel in the void in front of him. There are still a lot of energy points left. I'll synthesize these martial arts now. Immediately, he began to synthesize them. Time flew by quickly. More than an hour later, Lin Xuan packed his things and left the room. At this moment, housekeeper Sun, who had received them earlier, came over. Now all of your martial skills are at the high rank 8, and your mixed essence formula has also advanced to the rank 9 low grade. Not bad. Lin Xuan's eyes revealed a trace of satisfaction. In the courtyard, Zhang Yukin and Wuxin had been waiting for a long time. Young Master Lin, it's time for my master's birthday banquet to begin. Please follow me. Housekeeper's son bowed and said it respectfully. Obviously, he knew about Lin Xuan's performance in the Spirit Gathering Tower last night. Lin Xuan did not mind. He said indifferently, "Sorry to trouble you." "Then let's go." After that, they left the courtyard under housekeeper's son's leadership. They walked towards the depths of the mansion. Before long, they arrived at an extremely spacious hall. At this moment, a large number of tables and chairs had already been arranged according to the order of the hall. On the tables were various delicacies, spirit fruits, and spirit wine. Many genius martial artists of the younger generation had already taken their seats. "Young Master Lin, please follow me. The two of you, follow Zia." Housekeeper's son said this was the treatment at different levels. However, Zhang Yuqin and Wu Xin had no objections. After all, whether it was talent or strength, Lin Xuan was much stronger than them. After that, the three of them separated. Zhang Yuqin and Wu Xin followed a maid named Zia and walked towards the lower middle area of the hall. Housekeeper's son brought Lin Xuan to the upper area. Lin Xuan's eyes also moved slightly. All the top geniuses of the third prince's mansion had gathered here. The treasures on their bodies were not bad at all. Furthermore, he currently had plenty of energy points. He couldn't let go of this good opportunity. With a thought, Lin Xuan duplicated a large number of high-grade treasures. Very quickly, housekeeper's son brought Lin Xuan to a row of single seats at the very front. Other than Lin Xuan, there were only 3 people in the entire hall who received such treatment. 2 men and 1 woman. One was a muscular young man, and the other was a thin young man in black. There was also a woman in red clothes who looked cold, but had a bit of a murderous aura. Lin Xuan, on the other hand, had received the highest treatment since he had just arrived. Instantly, he attracted the attention of everyone present. Who is that person? He can actually stand side by side with the barbarian elephant, Zhou Yue, Black Widow, and Xiao Wensing. I don't think his cultivation base is very high, right? And the 3 of them are all top 6th level, spiritual essence stage geniuses. He's so unfamiliar. I've never seen him before, and I've never heard of him either. Could he be a genius from some central region? He's the Lin Xuan who defeated Manhua Mountain with a single punch yesterday. The Manhua Mountain is just a genius from an ordinary small domain. He's only a 2nd level spiritual essence stage, so defeating him shouldn't be a big deal, right? What qualification does he have to receive such treatment? Not only that, I heard that he condensed a spirit vortex in the Spirit Gathering Tower yesterday. Chapter 242. Fallen Star Tower. Really? Spirit vortex, the rumors only appear when a spiritual essence stage breaks through to the Origin Sea realm. It's true. I saw it with my own eyes last night. The third prince was also there at that time. Furthermore, Lin Xuan was at the spirit opening stage when he broke through to the spiritual essence stage. If the spirit vortex could appear after breaking through to the spiritual essence stage, isn't he a little too strong? That's right, he's really strong. No wonder the third prince let a person who has just broken through to the spiritual essence stage sit at the front, allowing him to enjoy the highest treatment. If that's the case, this arrangement is only right. However, Lin Xuan's cultivation base is still too low. Everyone was discussing in low voices. Their eyes were fixed on Lin Xuan, and they were shining with a strange light. Although they were astounded by Lin Xuan's talent and potential, his current cultivation base was still insufficient. He had just broken through to the spiritual essence stage, and he was only an early spiritual essence stage warrior. There were even many mid-spiritual essence stage warriors present. Of course, there were many people who didn't accept Lin Xuan's treatment. However, due to the third prince and Niyang Kang's power, they could only suppress their unwillingness. However, they didn't have a good attitude towards Lin Xuan. They secretly calculated. Barbarian Elephant, Zhou Yue, Black Widow, Kai Lianyan, and Xiao Wensing, who were at the front and side of the hall, had heard about Lin Xuan's deeds. All of them had their eyes swept across Lin Xuan. Their eyes moved slightly and shone with a strange light. However, they did not go forward and greet Lin Xuan. The 3 of them could see Lin Xuan's cultivation base. He was only a 2nd level spiritual essence stage, and he was also an early spiritual essence stage. As for the three of them, they were all at the 6th level of the spiritual essence stage and were approaching the late spiritual essence stage. They were only a step away from the 4th layer. Even though Lin Xuan's talent was extraordinary, his current strength was still too weak, and they didn't attach much importance to him. When Lin Xuan saw this, he sighed in his heart. As expected, strength is still the most important thing in this world. No matter how great a person's talent and potential were, this was only his potential, not his strength. At most, he would only make others look up to him, but it was impossible for him to make others respect him. However, Lin Xuan did not care. Lin Xuan's true strength was enough to instantly kill these three people who were ranked in the 60th and 70th places on the profound essence list. It was just that he hadn't revealed his true strength. As long as they didn't provoke him, he wouldn't bother with their attitude of ignoring him. The treasures on the three of them are not bad. The treasures on their bodies are similar to Kang's. They have crystal grade talent and rank 9 martial arts. Lin Xuan's eyes swept across Zhou Yue and the other two, and his expression changed slightly. With a thought, he used up a large amount of energy points to duplicate the high-grade treasures on their bodies. Immediately, Lin Xuan chose to use these treasures. There were so many genius martial practitioners of the younger generation in this hall. Their auras were mixed. Lin Xuan's change in aura did not need to worry about attracting attention. It did not take long for him to finish the fusion. Now, my cultivation talent is considered one of the best even amongst crystal grade warriors. Lin Xuan slightly nodded his head and a satisfied look appeared in his eyes. At this moment, the third prince, Kang, walked out from a small door at the front of the main hall. He was wearing a robe embroidered with a serpent. He stood in front of the only seat in the main hall. He cupped his hands and said it with a loud and clear voice. "Today is my 21st birthday. I will hold a birthday banquet here. I welcome all the geniuses here. Spirit, fruit, wine, all kinds of delicious dishes. I have already prepared them. I'll treat everyone to a good meal. After the banquet, I still have a big gift for everyone. Congratulations, third prince. Congratulations, third prince. Third prince, you're too kind." Everyone on the scene stood up and congratulated him loudly. After that, they all sat down and started enjoying the delicacies. The spiritual fruits and spiritual alcohol in the banquet were of high quality, and the delicacies also contained some rare ingredients that were made from high-level demon beast meat. Not only were they delicious, they also had some beneficial effects on one's physique and cultivation. Normally, it is rare for people to enjoy these delicacies. Now that they were provided free of charge, everyone started to eat without any hesitation. A few minutes later, everyone was eating happily. After the birthday banquet, everyone's gaze gathered on Kang. Kang continued with a faint smile. After the banquet, what comes next is combat. However, this time's fight is different from the previous ones. Today, I specifically borrowed the treasure of Ming Chang Kingdom from my father, the fantasy disc. In the hunting area of King Ming Chang's palace, I specially arranged a huge illusory spirit array. The battle this year will be carried out within the illusory spirit array. But this is not a normal competition, but a competition for the Jade Talisman. Kang took out 3 Jade Talismans and placed them on the table. Then he continued. I have already ordered people to place the Jade Talismans all over the illusory spirit array. After you enter the illusory spirit array, you can freely search for them. After that, you can fight for these Jade Talismans with your own strength. There were 3 types of Jade Talismans. There were purple Jade Talismans, green Jade Talismans, and white Jade Talismans. Jade Talismans represented points. Purple Jade Talisman, 300 points each. Green Jade Talismans, 50 points each. White Jade Talisman. 1 point per white Jade Talisman. Finally, I rank according to the number of points I have. The top 10 martial artists will also receive generous rewards. As for the purple Jade Talisman, there are only 3 of them. The martial artist who obtains 1 purple Jade Talisman will be able to propose a condition to the Ming Chang Kingdom. Regardless of whether you wanted to obtain a high rank 8 martial technique spirit weapon, a medicinal pill, or an elemental C stage martial, cultivator's guidance in accepting a disciple, all of these conditions would be met. The top 30 warriors will also obtain a slot to enter the Falling Star Tower. As Niyang Kane continued to explain, the expressions of everyone on the scene became excited, and even their breathing couldn't help but become rapid. The Ming Chang Kingdom was an overlord-level force in the Ming Chang region of the Central region. If they could ask for a condition from the Ming Chang Kingdom, it could be imagined how great the benefits they would get from it would be. There was also a reward for the top 10. Since Niyang Kane said that it was a very generous reward, it would definitely not be a small one. However, these rewards were worth nothing. When Niyang Kane finished speaking, the martial artists on the scene exploded like a pot boiling. Did I hear it wrong? Falling Star Tower. Ming Chang Kingdom is actually willing to give up some of the slots to enter the Falling Star Tower. And it's even 30 slots. The Falling Star Tower is the most mysterious treasure in the entire Ming Chang region. It's said that anyone who enters it will obtain a great harvest. Some will obtain high-grade martial arts, while others will obtain ancient pills. There are even some who can directly increase their cultivation. In the past, in the Ming Chang region, 3 overlord-level forces, the royal family of Ming Chang Kingdom, and the Mountain Split sect would occupy all the spots. Unless an outsider paid a very high price to obtain one, they would be willing to give 30 spots this year. In that case, we must not hold back in this battle. I must enter the top 30 and obtain one quota. The crowd on the stage was extremely noisy and in an uproar. It was extremely shocking. Lin Xuan's eyes also lit up when he heard this. Chapter 243. Strategy. Falling Star Tower. Lin Xuan's eyes lit up when he heard this. Although he had never heard about the Falling Star Tower before, he could tell from the words of these people that the Falling Star Tower must be extraordinary. After a while, the scene gradually quieted down. Niyang Kane continued. Next, please follow me. Niyang Kane gave a generous reward for this battle. Everyone naturally wouldn't refuse. They all stood up. They followed Niyang Kane and left the main hall. They walked towards the exit of the mansion. On the way, Zhang Yuqin and Wu Xin came to Lin Xuan's side. Lin Xuan asked Zhang Yuqin, "Mr. Zhang, do you know what the Falling Star Tower is?" Although I have never been to the Falling Star Tower before, I have also been to the Ming Chang region a few times. I have some understanding about the Falling Star Tower. Zhang Yuqin said it faintly. Lin Xuan was able to defeat second level of spiritual essence stage warriors like Man Yunshan and himself when he was only at the 8th level of spirit opening stage. Lin Xuan had now broken through to the spiritual essence stage, and he had reached the second level of the spiritual essence stage. His strength was estimated to be at least at the mid-spiritual essence stage. Even in the mid-spiritual essence stage, he was considered a powerful warrior. The possibility of him getting a slot was extremely high. It was perfectly normal for him to ask about the situation in the Falling Star Tower. Therefore, he said, "The Falling Star Tower is a black tower that suddenly appeared 100 years ago after a falling meteor crashed into the black sand wasteland of the Ming Chang region. None of us know its name. As a result, it was named the Falling Star Tower by the major powers of the Ming Chang region. The pagoda in Falling Star Tower was 300 meters tall, and it had a total of 9 levels. As long as we enter the Falling Star Tower, we will be tested. After we pass the test, we will receive the corresponding reward. The higher the level we explore, the greater the rewards we will receive." According to the rumors, there was a person who had reached the 5th level, and he had obtained a rank 9 in mid-grade martial arts. He had caused a huge sensation in the entire Ming Chang region. What? He was able to obtain a rank 9 martial art after reaching the 5th level. Lin Xuan was surprised when he heard what Zhang Yuqin said. One should know that only crystal transformation stage warriors could cultivate a rank 9 martial art and unleash its true power. Even in the entire Ming Chang region, it was considered one of the top martial arts. However, he was able to obtain such a martial art just by reaching the 5th level. It seemed like the reward for entering the Falling Star Tower was very generous. What if he reached level 9? What level would the reward reach? He almost couldn't imagine it. No wonder those warriors were so excited when Niyang Kang mentioned the Falling Star Tower. Even more ecstatic than the reward the royal family of Ming Chang Kingdom offered, they were. So that was the truth. If they could make it to a higher level, then the reward might not be something the Ming Chang Kingdom could compare with. It seemed that this time, no matter what, he had to get a spot. Lin Xuan also took a deep breath. He thought in his heart. However, a doubt emerged in Lin Xuan's heart. The reward was so generous, why was the royal family of Mingchang Kingdom willing to give them 30 spots? At this time, Zhang Yuqin continued. There is such a high reward on the 5th level. Moreover, this was not the first time that it had been confirmed. However, the Falling Star Tower had been around for 100 years. However, in the Mingchang region, only a few people could reach the 5th level. Until now, no one had reached a higher level. Therefore, they didn't know what kind of reward they would receive when they reached a higher level. Also, although the Falling Star Tower was located in the Black Sand Wasteland, it only appeared once every 10 years. Normally, it would hide in Black Sand Wasteland. No matter what method everyone used, no one could detect it. And 2 days later, it was the day of Falling Star Tower's birth again. In addition, a transparent light barrier encircled the Falling Star Tower. After the Falling Star Tower was opened, any spiritual essence stage warrior under the age of 24 who touched it would be sent to the interior. He could enter the inner area of the Falling Star Tower and explore. Those who did not meet this condition would not be able to enter the Falling Star Tower. If they wanted to force their way into the Falling Star Tower, they would be counterattacked. There was once a rogue crystal transformation stage cultivator who tried to force his way in, but he was killed on the spot without any ability to resist. When the participants had finished exploring the Falling Star Tower, they would be sent out once they touched the light membrane. This was a random teleportation. It could teleport the participants to a place close to the ____ and also send them to a place far away. It could even transport the participants to a place over 100 kilometers away. As for the quota, there was actually no restriction on it. As long as the conditions were met, one could enter the Falling Star Tower and explore. However, in the past, it was occupied by the 3 overlord-level forces in the Mingchang region, and no rogue cultivators or ordinary warriors were allowed to approach. Zhang Yuqin said it in a serious manner, while Lin Xuan listened quietly. Obviously, Zhang Yuqin had never entered the Falling Star Tower before, but he was actually very interested in it. Zhang Yuqin had collected enough information. Lin Xuan listened quietly and gradually gained a certain understanding of the Falling Star Tower. He had some guesses as to why the royal family of the Mingchang Kingdom would take the initiative to take out 30 quotas. Firstly, it should be to bribe these top geniuses. Secondly, the royal family of Mingchang Kingdom wanted to find someone to test it out to see if anyone could make it to the 5th level or above and what kind of rewards they would receive. After all, there was no limit to the number of participants in the Falling Star Tower. The royal family of Mingchang Kingdom would not lose anything if they gave them 30 spots. Lin Xuan estimated that if someone could really break through to the 5th floor and above, the royal family of Mingchang Kingdom wouldn't say anything in front of them. However, it was very likely that Origin Sea Realm warriors or even Crystal Transformation Stage warriors sent by the 3 major powers would intercept him before he could leave the Mingchang region, because even the reward for the 5th level was so high. An even higher reward would definitely cause the 3 major powers to want to kill him. It was fortunate that the participants would be randomly sent out when they left, giving them a chance to escape. A bright light flickered in the depths of Lin Xuan's eyes as he secretly calculated. Not long after, everyone was brought to a patch of grass by Nai Kang. 100 meters away was a vast stretch of forest that stretched as far as the eye could see. In front of the mountain forest, a large number of armored soldiers with higher cultivation bases guarded it. Several hundred meters away in the attic, there were also some young men and women dressed in luxurious clothing looking in this direction. Obviously, they were all disciples of the royal family of the Mingchang Kingdom. However, none of them paid any attention to them. They were all the top geniuses in their respective small domains. Their hearts were focused on martial arts, and they respected the strong. They didn't care about the royal family disciples, who had decent backgrounds, but low cultivation and talent. After Nai Kang brought everyone to this patch of grass, he walked forward. He walked to the side of a gray-clothed old man and said it respectfully. "Elder Chen, how's the setup of the illusory spirit array?" "Don't worry, I've finished setting it up. It can be used at any time," the old man replied. "Then you can activate it." Na Yongkang said. The old man in gray nodded, then turned around and left. The old man in gray returned not long after and threw out 4 small, black flags that were half a meter long. A strange fluctuation circulated. In the middle of the 4 small flags, a 2-meter-tall vortex was formed. Chapter 244. Illusionary Spirit Formation. Na Yongkang exchanged a few more words with the gray-robed old man, Elder Chen, before walking back and speaking in a clear voice. Everyone, that is the entrance to the illusory spirit array. Please. Na Yongkang pointed at the vortex. As the host, Na Yongkang was also the highest-ranked genius on the scene, so he naturally wouldn't participate. Everyone on the scene hesitated for a moment. Since none of you are coming, I'll go first. 1. A hot-tempered young man sneered and walked forward, disappearing into the vortex. The others followed him into the vortex, one by one. Lin Xuan mixed in with the crowd and entered the vortex at a moderate pace. His gaze seemed to have inadvertently swept over the gray-clothed old man, not far away from the vortex. Spiritual essence stage peak and also a formation master. This was the martial artist with the highest cultivation level he had seen so far. He naturally couldn't let go of the treasures on the gray-clothed old man's body. He began duplicating. Consumed 200,000 energy points, duplicated successfully, and obtained profound grade cultivation talent. Consumed 200,000 energy points, duplicating successfully. Obtained profound grade formation talent. I consumed 1 million energy points. Duplicated successfully. Obtained 5 elemental chaos techniques, rank 9. Low grade, great completion. In an instant, all the treasures that he was interested in were copied over. Immediately, he entered the vortex. A feeling of the rotation of heaven and earth was transmitted to him. When he opened his eyes once again, the scene in front of him had already changed greatly. He was on a plain. In the distance were hills, mountains, forests, rivers, and other terrains. It was as if he had changed places. This is the illusory spirit array. So real. Lin Xuan was also slightly shocked. He now had a clearer understanding of the Tao of formation. As for Zhang Yuqin, Wu Xin, and the others who followed behind him, they were not in this area. They had probably been teleported away. Let me first fuse the treasure that I just copied. When he thought of the illusionary array, Lin Xuan suddenly thought of the formation talent that he had just duplicated. This might be of some use. Immediately, he chanted. The duplicated treasure quickly merged. Outside the illusion, Na Yongkang arrived at the attic, which was a few hundred meters away. The people gathered here were the children of the Mingchang kingdom, royal family, and their subordinates. Although their talent and potential were ordinary, they couldn't compare to Na Yongkang and the other geniuses. However, they were all beautiful and handsome. The reason they gathered here was to see if they could use marriage to rope in some geniuses. This was also the most commonly used method of roping in large factions. After Na Yongkang arrived, he sat on the main seat and spoke in a clear voice. Raise the ethereal water mirror. Dozens of servants hurriedly got busy. Not long after, they set up a huge water realm. A wave of ripples appeared in the water realm, revealing the scene inside the illusory spirit array. The illusory spirit array was divided into several big pieces, and they were the scenes of Barbarian Elephant, Zhou Yue, Black Widow, Kai Lianyan, and Zhao Wenxing. They were the scenes of the Barbarian Elephant, Zhao Wenxing, Lin Xuan, and the other top geniuses. Within the illusory spirit array, congratulations, host, for improving the cultivation talent. Congratulations to host for breaking through to the profound grade formation talent. In just a short while, he had completed the integration. He looked around once again. This is the effect of a formation talent. Lin Xuan's eyes slightly moved. He saw that the surrounding scene had changed once again. Ripples appeared on the surface of the ripples, and it was filled with an unreal feeling. In fact, as long as he was willing, he could break a big hole in it at any time. Although he couldn't destroy the illusory spirit array, it was enough for him to break free. Lin Xuan nodded slightly, and his eyes revealed a trace of satisfaction. He was relieved. After which, Lin Xuan walked forward. There were many benefits to this battle. Those who entered the top 30 could obtain a slot to enter the Falling Star Tower, a purple jade talisman, and a condition for the royal family of Mingchang Kingdom. He naturally couldn't let go of this opportunity. He had only walked 100 meters. Lin Xuan suddenly stretched out his hand. A few meters away, a white light entered Lin Xuan's hand. What was surprising was that Na Yongkang took out one of the 3 jade talismans, the white jade talisman. As expected, a smile appeared on Lin Xuan's face. This was also the effect of talent formation. He could easily see the uniqueness of the illusory spirit array, so this white jade talisman naturally couldn't escape his eyes. He walked a dozen meters away and reached out his hand to grab a white jade talisman. After walking for 1,000 meters, he already had over 40 white jade talismans in his hand. Outside of the illusory spirit array inside the attic, everyone was looking at the scene on the water level, and their faces were filled with shock. How did Lin Xuan find it so accurately? It's as if he knew where the jade talisman was hidden. What a powerful perception. Is this a top genius? Isn't he too powerful? Why do Barbarian Elephant, Zhou Yue, Black Widow, and Kai Lianyan not have such abilities? Lin Xuan is indeed worthy of being the person who just broke through to the spiritual essence stage and condensed the spirit vortex. He is too strong. Everyone began to discuss it animatedly. Many pretty girls were looking at this scene with admiration. Although Na Yongkang didn't say anything, his eyes revealed a surprised expression. Besides the 3 purple jade talismans, the rest of the jade talismans were buried by over 100 hands. Even he didn't know where they were buried. Why did Lin Xuan find them so accurately? In terms of perception, Zhou Yue, who had reached the 6th level of spiritual essence stage, Kai Lianyan, and Zhao Wenxing had definitely surpassed Lin Xuan. But they couldn't find the jade talisman, no matter what they asked. Why was there such a huge gap between them? Na Yongkang was getting more and more confused. However, when he thought about how Lin Xuan was able to condense the spirit vortex when he just broke through to the spiritual essence stage, he had even skipped 2 realms and reached the 2nd level of the spiritual essence stage. His talent had obviously exceeded his by a lot. Lin Xuan might be able to do something he couldn't. Thinking of this, Na Yongkang acknowledged Lin Xuan in his heart. He also paid more attention to Lin Xuan. Within the illusory spirit array with Lin Xuan's speed, in just a few minutes, he had traveled more than 10 kilometers. And this was only the speed at which he picked up the white jade talisman on the way. At this moment, there are a number of jade talismans in Lin Xuan's hand. 157 white jade talismans and 2 green jade talismans. In terms of the number of jade talismans, there was no one who could compare to him. But at this point, someone stopped Lin Xuan. There were 2 young men in black, one at the peak of spiritual essence stage level 3, and the other at the spiritual essence stage 4th layer middle stage. They waved their swords and stopped Lin Xuan. Lin Xuan, hand over the jade talisman in your hand. I heard that you are the one who can condense the spirit vortex. Are you trying to trick us to attract attention? Chapter 245. Killed with one punch. How could a man who came from a small territory, like the Scorching Sun domain, do such a thing? In my opinion, he is most likely trying to be sensationalist. Even the 3rd prince was deceived. His means are quite powerful. They kept laughing coldly and teasing him. In the main hall, many people felt that Lin Xuan was an eyesore. Although Lin Xuan was a 2nd level spiritual essence stage warrior, his treatment was even better than that of mid-spiritual essence stage warriors like them. The top geniuses who only respected the strong naturally couldn't stand Lin Xuan. However, due to Na Yongkang's power and influence, they didn't act recklessly. Among these people were the 2 of them. At this moment, they no longer had any worries about the illusory spirit array. Once again, they encountered Lin Xuan. They had come to block his path, causing him trouble. They also knew that the 3rd prince might be monitoring the illusory spirit array from outside, so they couldn't kill Lin Xuan. However, they thought that they could still give Lin Xuan a good beating. On the opposite side, Lin Xuan's face darkened when he saw this. He said, "You dare to rob my jade talisman? How dare you? I think you don't want to live anymore." When the 2 black-clothed youth heard this, they immediately became furious and wanted to teach Lin Xuan a lesson. At this time, Lin Xuan also attacked. Lin Xuan casually threw out a punch. With this punch, he still didn't use any spiritual essence or concept. This was just an ordinary punch. However, at this moment, a violent wind started blowing, and a frightening force shook the void. This punch condensed into an air cannon fist, and as if it were suppressing the void, it smashed towards the two of them. The power of this punch spread out and instantly made the two of them feel a chill run down their spines. Their bodies trembled, as if an unimaginable terror had descended upon them. Their eyes were filled with fear. Only now did the two of them realize that the rumor was true. Lin Xuan's strength had far exceeded theirs. In fact, Lin Xuan had made them unable to put up any resistance. Unfortunately, it was too late for them to know. In an instant, the air cannon's fist had already blasted towards them. An ear-splitting explosion rang out, and smoke and dust filled the air. Very quickly, the smoke and dust dispersed, and a large crater that was several dozen meters wide appeared on the ground. The two young men in black, who were spiritual essence, stage level 3 and 4th layer, were now lying in the crater. Their bodies were covered in blood, and their auras were weak. They were severely injured, and they had lost consciousness. At this moment, Lin Xuan had clearly displayed his strength after breaking through to the spirit origin realm. With just a casual punch, he had defeated a spiritual essence stage level 3 and 4th layer warrior. Lin Xuan, on the other hand, had an indifferent look on his face. It was as if he had just done something insignificant. He stretched out his hand, and a shocking suction force was emitted. The storage rings of the two young men in black flew out and fell into Lin Xuan's hand. After that, Lin Xuan left with quick steps. Not long after Lin Xuan left, not far away in the forest, more than a dozen martial artists jumped out. They rushed over and surrounded the big pit. They looked at the two black-clothed youth in the large pit, feeling extremely shocked. Sun Hai, ranked 85th on the Xuanyuan list, and Zhang Minghe, ranked 89th on the Xuanyuan list, were defeated just like that. They didn't even have the strength to resist. Lin Xuan is too strong. He should have the strength of a 5th level spiritual essence stage, right? It looks like that rumor is true. He is indeed worthy of being the person who could condense the spirit vortex when breaking through to the spiritual essence stage. No wonder the third prince thinks so highly of him. The third prince gave Lin Xuan the same treatment as the barbarian elephant, Zhou Yue and Xiao Wenxing. His talent and potential were definitely not inferior to theirs. He might even surpass them. More than 10 people discussed in low voices. When they saw the miserable state of Sun Hai and Zhang Minghe, they were all secretly shocked. Only now did they know how powerful Lin Xuan was. He was able to defeat Sun Hai and Zhang Minghe with just a simple punch. In the illusory spirit array, besides Barbarian Elephant, Zhou Yue, Black Widow, Kai Lianian, and Xiao Wenxing, no one else could defeat Lin Xuan. They no longer dared to underestimate Lin Xuan. At the same time, they were secretly glad. Among them, there were also those who looked down on Lin Xuan. They wanted to teach Lin Xuan a lesson. However, Sun Hai and Zhang Mingyuan attacked Lin Xuan first. Now, it seemed like it was all thanks to these two, who attacked first. Otherwise, they would have ended up like this. They still had lingering fears in their hearts. They had secretly made up their minds to never provoke Lin Xuan, Zhang Yuqin, and Wu Xin, who were also from the Scorching Sun domain. They could no longer look down on others because of their cultivation base. They did not know the true level of others, so they could not casually attack them. After a while, the dozen of them dispersed. However, they were all far away from Lin Xuan. Not long after, Sun Hai and Zhang Mingyuan turned into shadows and disappeared. They were teleported out. Outside the illusory spirit array, in the attic, Lin Xuan's strength astounded everyone. They were extremely shocked. They didn't dare underestimate Lin Xuan anymore. Na Yongkang's pupils shrank upon seeing this, and his heart was greatly shaken. The power of this punch is really powerful. At least, it was impossible for his punch to reach this kind of power. It could be seen how unfathomable Lin Xuan's strength was. The way Na Yongkang looked at Lin Xuan changed once again. Na Yongkang no longer valued Lin Xuan because of Lin Xuan's talent, but because of Lin Xuan's strength. Na Yongkang treated Lin Xuan as someone of the same level. Because, after witnessing Lin Xuan's punch, he had no confidence that he could defeat Lin Xuan. He recalled that Lin Xuan, who had just broken through to the spiritual essence stage last night, had such strength. This also showed how powerful Lin Xuan's talent was. Na Yongkang's heart was once again greatly shaken. The importance he attached to Lin Xuan had also increased by a few levels. Within the illusory spirit array, Lin Xuan still didn't know that he had just casually killed 2 people, which had actually frightened many of the warriors. One of them was Nai Yang Kang. At this moment, he was still walking around in the illusory spirit array, picking up jade talismans at lightning speed. He had profound grade formation talent. He could find any jade talisman within a few hundred meters. Now, he had collected quite a few jade talismans as well. There were white and green jade talismans. Unfortunately, he had yet to find a single purple jade talisman. Soon, another 10 minutes passed. Lin Xuan didn't know how far he had gone. Suddenly, in front of him, thousands of meters away, there was a loud noise. Lin Xuan mused for a moment before he turned into an afterimage and rushed over. It did not take long for him to get close. He saw a few hundred meters in front of him. A few people went over. One in front, one behind, one chasing, one fleeing. The 2 people in front emitted a thick purple light as if they were carrying some sort of precious treasure. Someone recognized them. It's Zhou Liang, ranked 81st on the Xuanyuan list, and Chang Xingzi, ranked 78th. The person chasing after us is Black Absolute Sword Zhao Wenxing. What's going on? Chapter 246. Defeat with one strike. Zhao Wenxing must have found Zhou Liang and Chang Xingzi after they acquired a purple jade talisman. Zhao Wenxing is the 68th genius on the Profound Essence list. He is much stronger than Zhou Liang and Chang Xingzi. This is going to be interesting. Everyone was discussing it with interest, but none of them dared to approach. They were afraid of being affected. Zhao Wenxing was one of the 6th level of spiritual essence stage geniuses invited by Nai Yang Kang. Apart from Zhou Yue and Kai Lianyan, no one else was his match. It would be troublesome if Zhao Wenxing targeted them. At this time, a ray of light seemed to have cut through the void and flew in the direction where the 3 men were running. It didn't slow down at all. Who is this? He actually dares to provoke Black Absolute Sword Zhao Wenxing. This person seems to be Lin Xuan. The person the 3rd prince values? He is the person who is on par with Zhao Wenxing and Zhou Yue. Isn't he just an early spiritual essence stage? Even if his talent is extraordinary, he can't possibly be a match for Zhao Wenxing, right? His courage is really great. I believe the purple jade talisman was what attracted him. Greed has blinded his rationality. Everyone looked at Lin Xuan's figure as he flew past. Their eyes flashed with a strange light. There was anticipation and ridicule in front of them. This purple jade talisman can't be placed in the storage ring. The 3rd prince clearly set up this trap. Zhou Liang and Chang Xingzi complained as they desperately ran. However, the difference in strength between the 2 of them and Zhao Wenxing was too great. Soon after, Zhao Wenxing stopped the 2 of them. They had nowhere to run. Zhao Wenxing, I'll give you this purple jade talisman. How about you let us brothers leave? Zhou Liang took out the purple jade talisman and said, you can leave the purple jade talisman and storage ring behind, and then you can get out of the illusory spirit array. Zhao Wenxing said it coldly. When Zhou Liang and Chang Xingzi heard what Zhao Wenxing said, they immediately became very angry and their faces turned red. Zhao Wenxing, don't go too far. We'll fight you to the death. Are you guys going to fight me to the death? Are you worthy? Zhao Wenxing said it with a sneer. Since you don't want to hand it over, I will take it myself. After that, he drew out the sword in his hand. A black sword light flew out, piercing towards Zhou Liang and Chang Xingzi as if it were piercing through the void. The black sword light was extremely fast. Before they could react, the sword beam had already arrived in front of them. Before the terrifying sword beam had even landed, they felt pain on their skin. Zhou Liang and Chang Xingzi's expressions changed drastically when they felt the power of the sword beam. They hurriedly circulated the spiritual essence in an attempt to block it. But at this moment, an ear-splitting metallic sound was heard. The sword beam actually struck the black sword beam, which gave them a sense of great threat. Then, a thin human figure appeared before them. Give me the purple jade talisman. I guarantee that all of you will leave safely. A calm voice sounded. You are Lin Xuan? Zhou Liang immediately recognized the skinny figure in front of him. He couldn't help but widen his eyes. His face was filled with disbelief. They had no confidence in blocking the black sword light. But at this precise moment, Lin Xuan's sword light broke the black sword light. Wasn't he too powerful? At this moment, they finally knew how powerful Lin Xuan was. When they heard Lin Xuan's words, their expressions changed drastically. Zhou Liang gritted his teeth and threw the purple jade talisman on the ground. Then he turned around and fled. I'll give it to you. Chang Xingzi also followed behind. The two of them fled at full speed. Zhao Wenxing did not chase after them. He looked at Lin Xuan with some fear. Although he had only used a portion of his strength, Lin Xuan casually took this attack. His strength was not much weaker than his. Only now did he realize that he had underestimated Lin Xuan. Now, he didn't have the confidence to fight Lin Xuan. However, Lin Xuan didn't pay any attention to Zhao Wenxing. The purple jade talisman was lying 3 meters away from him. Lin Xuan stretched out his hand, and a shocking suction force came over. You dare to take my things? Zhao Wenxing said it angrily. He could no longer suppress his emotions. He pulled out his sword and attacked Lin Xuan. Black Surge. Zhao Wenxing's sword light wrapped around an endless black river as it flowed towards Lin Xuan. Without turning his head, Lin Xuan quickly pulled out the Terminator sword from his hand. Storm. In the next moment, a violent gust of wind swept up the sand and attacked Zhao Wenxing's sword light. Two powerful forces collided. Not long after, the sword beam that was wrapped in the black river was swallowed by the storm. In an instant, the power of the sword light completely dissipated. The strength of the storm also pushed Zhao Wenxing back a number of meters. He had an expression of disbelief on his face. How is this possible? Zhao Wenxing's eyes widened. He was very shocked. Although he didn't use his full strength, he had used half of his strength. This amount of strength was enough to kill an ordinary 5th-level spiritual essence stage. Lin Xuan's sword, however, stopped his attack and even forced him to back away. Zhao Wenxing couldn't believe it. In the distant mountain forest, many of the surrounding martial artists were also stunned. I didn't see wrongly, right? Lin Xuan's sword actually forced Zhao Wenxing to turn back. Isn't Lin Xuan a little too strong? He is only a 2nd-level spiritual essence stage, how can he be so strong? Zhao Wenxing is ranked in the top 60 of the Profound Essence list. He has defeated the late spiritual essence stage many times, but he was actually suppressed by Lin Xuan. Lin Xuan is only a 2nd level of spiritual essence stage warrior, but he was able to force back a 6th level of spiritual essence stage warrior like Zhao Wenxing. Isn't he too powerful? The warriors discussed in low voices. They almost couldn't believe their eyes. Zhao Wenxing was one of the top geniuses in the central region's Mingchang region. He was one of the 3 top geniuses that the 3rd prince had specially invited. In the last Profound Essence list, he was ranked 68th. Even Black Widow, Kai Lionian, Barbarian Elephant, Zhou Yue, and 3rd Prince Niyongkang found it hard to defeat Zhao Wenxing. But at this precise moment, Lin Xuan's sword forced Zhao Wenxing back dozens of meters. They had also heard that Lin Xuan had just broken through to the spiritual essence stage not long ago. The warriors had expressions of disbelief on their faces. No one had ever thought that Lin Xuan would have such powerful strength. They felt that Lin Xuan's strength was really unfathomable in front of them. After Lin Xuan sent Zhao Wenxing, flying with a single strike of his sword, he absorbed the purple jade talisman from Zhao Wenxing's body. It actually contains spatial fluctuations. This is a pretty good treasure. No wonder it can't absorb the storage ring. Chapter 247. Defeat Zhao Wenxing. Lin Xuan murmured in his heart, and a hint of a smile appeared in his eyes. Immediately, he placed the purple jade talisman into his bosom and carried it with him. Although it could not be kept in the storage ring, one could see the purple jade talisman emitting a glow from hundreds of meters away. But so what? As long as the purple jade talisman was in his hands, no one within the illusory spirit array could snatch it away from him. On the other side, Zhao Wenxing's expression was extremely ugly as he watched Lin Xuan put away the purple jade talisman. After a series of changes, he slashed out with his sword again. Black Surge. Zhao Wenxing shouted out loudly. The power of a 6th-level spiritual essence stage exploded out with a loud bang, sending out endless waves of qi. At the same time, the sword intent of a 60% warrior is 50% artistic conception of wind, 40% artistic conception of gold, and 40% artistic conception of darkness. He had unleashed almost all of the concept. With his previous attack, he was still sent flying dozens of meters away and was forced into a disadvantageous position. Zhao Wenxing didn't dare to underestimate Lin Xuan anymore. He did not hold back at all, and he attacked with all his strength. A sharp sword light flew out and wrapped around the inky black river. It was as if it were sweeping through the world as it descended from the sky and slashed towards Lin Xuan. The power of this attack was extremely terrifying. Even an ordinary 8th level spiritual essence stage might not be able to withstand it. In the distance, all the martial practitioners within several hundred meters hurriedly retreated. This was because Zhao Wenxing's sword had already engulfed the area within several hundred meters. They couldn't help but tremble, even though the wind was covering them. The vitality shook, and they did not dare to stay any longer. They now had a clearer understanding of the strength of Zhao Wenxing, one of the top geniuses of the Ming-Chang region. They had fled 1,000 meters away and had only stopped once they were safe. They turned around and continued watching. Lin Xuan was able to force Zhao Wenxing back with a single sword strike, so his strength was definitely not weak. Even if Lin Xuan wasn't as strong as Zhao Wenxing, he wouldn't be much weaker. Besides, Lin Xuan might not be weaker than Zhao Wenxing. Zhao Wenxing had also revealed his true strength at this moment. This was an extremely difficult battle, and it was worth watching. On the battlefield, Zhao Wenxing unleashed a sword beam with all his strength, which contained a monstrous black river. It was as if it had shaken the entire void, and it was crushing down on Lin Xuan. Under the enhancement of several powerful concepts, the power of the attack increased exponentially, as if it could cover the entire sky. The entire sky turned dark. Below, Lin Xuan looked at this scene with a calm expression and a hint of interest. Artistic conception of darkness. Interesting. Unfortunately, I have already replicated it. This is useless to me. Break. Immediately, Lin Xuan also attacked. He pointed the Terminator sword in his hand. Storm. In an instant, a sword light flew out. Endless violent wind lingered around him, as if it were tearing apart the void. At the same time, the sword intent, the artistic conception of wind, the artistic conception of gold, and 3 great concepts were unleashed from Lin Xuan's body. Facing Zhao Wenxing, who was ranked 68th on the Xuanyuan list, he wouldn't be as indifferent as before. He had to use the concept. However, unlike Zhao Wenxing's full power, his 3 concepts were only at the 20%. This was enough. In a split second, a monstrous black river of sword light wrapped itself in an endlessly violent sword light. At that moment, everyone heard a loud sound like cloth being torn apart. The sword light of the storm actually tore the black river apart. The darkness that seemed to cover the sky dissipated at an extremely fast speed under the cover of the endless, violent wind. Lin Xuan was able to easily stop Zhao Wenxing's all-out assault, the slash that revealed all the concepts, in a matter of seconds. How is this possible? How can you be so powerful? Zhao Wenxing looked at this scene in disbelief. However, in the next moment, due to the sword light being broken, he suffered a backlash. He couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood, and his aura weakened considerably. At this moment, even if he didn't want to believe it, he had no choice but to believe it. He was actually no match for Lin Xuan. And he was far from being a match for Lin Xuan. In the past, it was always him who jumped ranks to challenge others. Actually, Lin Xuan challenged him today. There was a difference in the 4th layer cultivation base between them. He still couldn't defeat Lin Xuan. Zhao Wenxing's heart was filled with shock. He was astounded by Lin Xuan's strength. Only now did he confirm that the rumors about Lin Xuan condensing a spirit vortex when he broke through to the spiritual essence stage were true. Furthermore, Lin Xuan had only broken through to the spiritual essence stage yesterday. Lin Xuan's strength had reached such a level today that even he was no match for him. Lin Xuan's talent was so high that it was frightening. Zhao Wenxing was also extremely shocked. But at this moment, he couldn't think of anything else. Lin Xuan's storm of sword light that carried an infinite amount of violent wind energy didn't disappear after tearing apart his strongest attack. The storm sword light only reduced its power by half and continued to slash at him. I can only escape. Zhao Wenxing's expression was gloomy, and his face was filled with unwillingness. However, he knew that he was no match for Lin Xuan. It would be useless for him to stay any longer. Without any hesitation, he turned around and fled into the distance. The remaining storm sword light continued to fall. A terrifying bang sounded out, and the shocking aftershock scattered in all directions. It left behind a huge ravine that was several hundred meters long on the ground. The surrounding void started to distort. Surprisingly, even the illusory spirit array was about to be broken. "You want to escape? Have you asked me?" Lin Xuan looked at Zhao Wenxing, who was far away, and laughed lightly. He turned into an afterimage and chased after Zhao Wenxing like a flashing light. In a breath's time, he had disappeared from the sight of the surrounding people. The numerous martial practitioners thousands of meters away looked at the several hundred-meter-wide gully on the ground and then looked at the two people who had disappeared into the distance. They were all silent as they stood in a daze on the spot. Their eyes were filled with endless shock. They never imagined that Zhao Wenxing, who was 68th on the most recent Profound Essence list, would actually lose to Lin Xuan. Lin Xuan had easily neutralized Zhao Wenxing's strongest attack. Zhao Wenxing was even scared to the point of fleeing. It was originally Zhao Wenxing who chased after Zhou Liang and Chang Xingzi. But now, it was Lin Xuan who chased after Zhao Wenxing. Such a huge gap made everyone feel like they were in a dream. Because this was just too surreal. But this happened right in front of their eyes. The terrifying might emanating from the huge ravine hundreds of meters away was telling them that it was the truth. Everyone was also deeply overwhelmed by shock, unable to calm down. Outside the illusory spirit array, inside the attic, all the royal family disciples looked at the image on the huge water mirror in front of them. They were all stunned, their eyes were wide open, filled with disbelief. The scene was silent as well. Even Niyang Kang, who was sitting on the main seat, had his eyes wide open. He stared at the water reservoir with disbelief. Zhao Wenxing lost just like that. He lost to a second level of spiritual essence stage, Lin Xuan. Chapter 248. Lin Xuan had defeated Zhao Wenxing. The scene inside the water mirror shocked Niyang Kang as well. Zhao Wenxing was one of the top 3 geniuses that he had specially invited. Zhao Wenxing's cultivation base had reached the 6th level of spiritual essence stage, and both he and Zhao Wenxing were ranked in the top 60 of the Profound Essence list. It wasn't easy for even him to defeat Zhao Wenxing. They would definitely experience a long battle. However, he didn't expect it. Lin Xuan was able to easily counter Zhao Wenxing's strongest attack. Lin Xuan quickly defeated him. It seemed like their strength was not on the same level. If Niyang Kang and Lin Xuan were to fight, he was afraid that he would be easily defeated as well. Lin Xuan's strength was too strong. Niyang Kang didn't expect Lin Xuan to be so strong. Then he recalled that Lin Xuan had only broken through to the spiritual essence stage last night. He also heard that Lin Xuan was only a spirit opening stage when he came here yesterday. A day had passed. Not only had Lin Xuan broken through to the 2nd level of spiritual essence stage, he had even defeated Zhao Wenxing. Wasn't his speed of improvement too fast? This also proved that Lin Xuan had a very high level of talent. Thinking of this, a bitter smile appeared on Niyang Kang's face. He had a clearer understanding of Lin Xuan's strength. Lin Xuan's strength had even surpassed the top geniuses of the Maple Martial region. Niyang Kang attached more importance to Lin Xuan. At the same time, he regarded Lin Xuan as his opponent. Because the strength that Lin Xuan displayed was much stronger than his. Within the illusory spirit array, 2 rays of light flew across the sky. They were so fast that not even the warriors could see them clearly. On a patch of grass. Zhongyukin, Wuxin, hand over the 2 green jade talismans in your hands. An ordinary small domain like the Scorching Sun domain doesn't have the qualifications to obtain the green jade talisman. 1. A black-clothed youth and a little fatty stopped Zhang Yukin and Wuxin and said it coldly. Both of them had reached the spiritual essence stage 4th layer, but they were only at the early spiritual essence, stage 4th layer. Even so, their strength was still stronger than that of Zhang Yukin and Wuxin. Zhang Yukin's and Wuxin's expressions were very ugly. Gaocheng, Jingmingzi, it wasn't easy for us to obtain these 2 green jade talismans. Why should we give them to you? Even if we aren't as strong as you, don't forget that there is someone stronger than us in Scorching Sun domain. Zhang Yukin shouted coldly. Gao Cheng and Jing Mingzi sneered when they heard this. Their eyes were filled with disdain. You mean the Lin Xuan who killed Man Yunshan? If he dares to appear in front of us, I will beat him until he kneels down and begs for mercy. Jing Mingzi mocked Zhang Yukin's and Wu Xin's expressions, which became even uglier. Jing Mingzi was about to speak. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew over. A figure flew over at an extremely fast speed. It's the Black Absolute Sword, Zhao Wenxing. Zhao Wenxing, what do you want to do? Gao Cheng and Jing Mingzi's expressions instantly became incomparably solemn. However, Zhao Wenxing ignored them and continued flying forward. Both of them heaved a sigh of relief. Then, another figure appeared. I think I heard you guys talking bad about me, right? Forget it. With a flick of his finger, 2 sword lights flew out. After that, he turned into an afterimage and disappeared on the spot. Lin, Zhang Yukin and Wu Xin were overjoyed and exclaimed. He turned into a ray of light and flew forward. It seemed like he was chasing after someone in front of him. 2 sword lights shot out and cut through the void, landing on Gao Cheng and Jing Mingzi. This is bad. How is this possible? Gao Cheng and Jing Mingzi's faces darkened, and they could not help but tremble. They felt a great threat coming from the sword light. Cracking smash. Fierce wind and moon flurry. The two of them hurriedly activated their spiritual essence and concepts, unleashing their strongest martial arts to defend against the attack. After 2 violent metallic sounds, both of them felt an endless wave of energy surging towards them. The treasured sabers and swords in their hands were sent flying. Both of their hands were injured, and blood was flowing out of their wounds. The two of them flew back 100 meters and smashed a huge hole in the ground, causing them to cough up blood. Their auras had weakened by quite a bit, and they were already close to being seriously injured. At this time, a cold shout came from in front of them. I will protect the Jade talismans on Zhang Yukin and Wu Xin's bodies. Whoever dares to snatch their Jade talismans will become my enemy. Lin Xuan, who was pursuing Zhao Wenxing, made this sound. There was also a trace of frightening might mixed into the voice. The sound spread out. In an instant, within a radius of 1,000 meters, all the martial artists could feel the vitality tumbling and the spiritual essence in disorder. Blood also flowed out of the corners of their mouths. They had suffered minor injuries. This was only his shout, but it had already affected the area within 1,000 meters, resulting in such an effect. How terrifying was his strength! Within 1,000 meters, all the martial practitioners were extremely shocked, trembling to the extreme. That person is Lin Xuan. He is the man who broke through to the spiritual essence stage and condensed the spirit vortex last night. At today's birthday banquet, the third prince valued him on a par with Zhao Wenxing, the Black Absolute Sword, and the other two. That's right, that's him. His strength is actually so terrifying. He's only a second-level spiritual essence stage warrior. His mighty shout can injure so many of us. Many of us are spiritual essence stage 4th layer warriors, mid-spiritual essence stage warriors. I'm afraid his strength is about the same as that of Black Absolute Sword Zhao Wenxing, Black Widow Kai Lianyan, and Barbarian Elephant Zhou Yue. He might even be stronger. Lin Xuan will definitely be stronger. Don't you see that the person Lin Xuan is chasing right now is Zhao Wenxing? If you hadn't told me, I wouldn't have noticed. Lin Xuan was pursuing Zhao Wenxing, forcing him to flee. Lin Xuan's strength may not be too terrifying. Within this illusory spirit array, the strongest person is Lin Xuan. The crowd of martial artists clamored and exclaimed. His eyes were filled with shock. If Lin Xuan hadn't said his name, no one would have believed that this mighty shout that injured all the martial artists within a kilometer came from Lin Xuan. Chapter 249. Resonance. There were even a lot of mid-spiritual essence stage warriors within 1,000-meter radius. Even Zhao Wenxing, Zhou Yue, Kai Lianyan, and even the third prince and Niyang Kane were able to injure all of them. But now everyone believes it. Lin Xuan was chasing Zhao Wenxing around, because the Black Absolute Sword Zhao Wenxing was no match for Lin Xuan. The terrifying strength of Lin Xuan also astounded everyone, making their bodies tremble. At the same time, they thought of what Lin Xuan had said. In their hearts, they decided not to snatch the Jade talismans from Zhang Yukin and Wu Xin, who were both from the Scorching Sun domain. Although both of them were only spiritual, essence stage 1, level 2, they were still ordinary. Any one of them could easily crush them. However, Lin Xuan could even defeat Zhao Wenxing with ease. They couldn't afford to offend Lin Xuan on the flat ground in the distance. In the huge pit, Gao Cheng and Jing Mingzi struggled to get up. Their faces were full of fear and fear. That's Lin Xuan. Didn't Lin Xuan just break through to the spiritual essence stage? How could he be so strong? Two sword lights shot out of his fingers. None of us could withstand them. His cold shout also injured us. This is too strong. Lin Xuan is pursuing Zhao Wenxing as well. The two of them murmured a few times and their voices couldn't help but tremble. After that, they turned around and fled into the distance. They no longer talked about snatching Zhang Yukin's and Wu Xin's jade talismans. Zhang Yukin and Wu Xin were also stunned on the spot. They couldn't believe their eyes. Lin Xuan casually flicked out two sword beams, causing Gao Cheng and Jing Mingzi, who were both spiritual essence, stage 4th layer warriors, to be unable to withstand them. Both of them were sent flying away, and their injuries weren't light. Zhao Wenxing, the black absolute sword Zhao Wenxing, was pursuing one of the top 3 geniuses. This strength had not only exceeded their expectations. This had also far exceeded their imagination. Only now did the two of them know how powerful Lin Xuan was. The gap between them and Lin Xuan was huge. After a long time, the two of them looked at each other with bitter smiles in their eyes. They left the area and continued to search for jade talismans. Soon, they realized. Wherever they went, they met many top geniuses. There were many martial artists who were stronger than them and had rude and unreasonable personalities. However, no one dared to come and snatch the jade talisman from them. Even wherever they went, these martial artists would take the initiative to retreat. It was as if they had turned into a flood of ferocious beasts. It was only at this moment that the two of them remembered what Lin Xuan had said. It appears that Lin Xuan has been guarding us. Both of them smiled bitterly. They now had a clearer understanding of Lin Xuan's power. Within the illusory spirit array, two streaks of light flew across a desolate land. One in front, one behind, one chasing, one fleeing. Surprisingly, they were Lin Xuan and Zhao Wenxing. In front of them, Zhao Wenxing was running with all his might. Lin Xuan, on the other hand, had a calm expression on his face. Along the way, Lin Xuan stretched out his hand. A white light shot out from the ground, not far away, and entered Lin Xuan's hand. Lin Xuan picked up the jade talisman along the way. Even so, the distance between the two of them was slowly closing. Currently, the number of jade talismans in Lin Xuan's hands is quite a lot. However, there was only one purple jade talisman that he had obtained earlier. As for why he was chasing after Zhao Wenxing, it was to establish his prestige. He also wanted to see who would dare come looking for him because of the purple jade talisman in his possession. Along the way, there were indeed a few people who came looking for him. They were all instantly killed by Lin Xuan, snatching the storage ring and the jade talisman. At this moment, within the illusory spirit array, more than half of the warriors knew that Lin Xuan was chasing after Zhao Wenxing. They were equally astounded by Lin Xuan's tyrannical strength. They didn't dare to provoke him anymore. Soon, a few minutes passed. Suddenly, Lin Xuan hurriedly took out the purple jade talisman from his pocket. He noticed that the purple jade talisman was trembling slightly, as if it were sensing something. The source of the resonance with the purple jade talisman should be in the north, not too far away. I didn't expect that the purple jade talismans, not too far away, would actually resonate with each other. Lin Xuan also revealed a trace of a smile. With that, he would be able to obtain the rest of the purple jade talisman. The owner of a purple jade talisman would be able to make a request to the Mingchang Kingdom royal family behind Nanyangkang in accordance with the rules of combat that Nanyangkang had provided. He could ask for a high rank 8 martial skill spirit, weapon or a medicinal pill, or he could ask an elemental, C-stage martial cultivator to take him in as a disciple, and so on and so forth. Lin Xuan would never let go of so many benefits. If possible, he wanted 3 purple jade talismans. Now, he has discovered the location of another purple jade talisman. Lin Xuan immediately gave up on chasing after the purple jade talisman. He held the purple jade talisman and headed in the direction of the resonance. After casting a spell, he turned into an afterimage and disappeared from where he stood. In a small valley, ear-splitting sounds kept coming. In the middle of the valley, 2 people were fighting. A dozen meters away from them, there was a dazzling purple light. This was a purple jade talisman. There were many martial practitioners lurking around the small valley. They watched from afar. No one dared to approach the two of them. This was because many of them were seriously injured. The two of them hurt the people who were attempting to rush into the valley and seized the opportunity to steal the purple jade talisman. With these lessons, the martial artists did not dare to approach again. But not many people left. They continued to surround and watch. They wanted to wait until the two of them were both injured, then see if there was a chance. One purple jade talisman was equivalent to 300 points. As long as he obtained one, he would basically be able to enter the top 30 and obtain a spot. Furthermore, he could also propose a condition to the Ming Chang royal family. With such a huge benefit, all the martial artists were naturally unwilling to give up just like that. At this moment, a human figure flew over from afar, like a stream of light. He rushed straight into the small valley. The surrounding martial practitioners watched this scene. They all stood where they were, and no one tried to stop him. They all revealed looks of ridicule. Another idiot whose purple jade talisman induced greed clouded their judgment. That's Black Widow, Kai Lianyan, Barbarian Elephant, and Zhou Yue. Even if the Black Absolute Sword, Zhao Wenxing, came, he would not get any good results. Don't look at how fiercely the two of them are fighting right now. But once someone else comes close, the two of them will immediately stop and get rid of the others first. Now we have a good show to watch. Before this, Sun Tzu and Bai Shile were both seriously injured and sent out. I don't know what will happen to Lin Xuan in a while. Chapter 250. The second one. In the blink of an eye, Lin Xuan flew past and disappeared into the valley. How dare you? You are courting death. Kai Lianyan and Zhou Yu's faces turned cold when they saw Lin Xuan. In the next moment, a blood-red whip and a fist print came crushing towards Lin Xuan. However, Lin Xuan's speed didn't decrease at all. He had no intention of dodging. The surrounding martial practitioners looked at him from afar with cold smiles in their eyes. But right after that, they could no longer laugh. Their expressions froze, and they stood rooted to the ground. Lin Xuan used the black treasured sword. Two deafening explosions rang out. The blood-red whip and the fist actually stopped moving. Then they collapsed. The human figure did not slow down in the slightest as he continued to charge towards the purple jade talisman. Kai Lianyan and Zhou Yue could not help but be startled when they saw this. In order to achieve the deterrence effect, they had used half of their strength. Even a 5th-level spiritual essence stage genius might not be able to withstand this move. But Lin Xuan was able to easily take it. While Kai Lianyan and Zhou Yue were still in a daze, Lin Xuan rushed in front of the purple jade talisman and took it into his hand. Furthermore, Lin Xuan's body was originally covered in thick purple light. This meant that he already had a jade talisman. Now that he had another jade talisman, the purple light on his body had become much stronger. He already had at least 2 purple jade talismans. El Xuan, hand over the purple jade talisman. Lin Xuan, you also have 1 purple jade talisman on you, right? Hand over the 2 purple jade talismans, or else you won't be able to leave this valley today. Kai Lianyan and Zhou Yue reacted and stopped fighting. They looked at Lin Xuan and shouted sternly. Lin Xuan was tall, handsome, and had an extraordinary temperament. Kai Lianyan and Zhou Yue shouted because Lin Xuan had easily taken their attacks. Otherwise, they would have attacked him directly. You want my purple jade talisman? You can't do it. Lin Xuan shook his head and smiled calmly. Hand over all your green jade talismans and white jade talismans. I can consider letting you go. After he finished speaking, the surrounding martial artists looked at Lin Xuan in disbelief. They recognized that Lin Xuan was the person who was on par with Zhao Wenxing, Zhou Yue, and Kai Lianyan. But even if his talent surpassed his potential was limitless. He was only in the 2nd-level spiritual essence stage now. He was not a match for Zhou Yue or Kai Lianyan. Where did he get the courage to provoke them? When Zhou Yue and Kai Lianyan heard this, they felt that it was very absurd. A 2nd-level spiritual essence stage was actually threatening them. This was something that they had never encountered before. Immediately, endless fury surged within their hearts. A mere 2nd-level spiritual essence stage dared to threaten them. If they didn't teach him a lesson, perhaps anyone would dare to belittle them. Just as the two of them were about to attack, Zhao Wenxing flew in. Lin Xuan looked at him and said coldly, "Zhao Wenxing, why aren't you running away? Since you are here, hand over all the jade talismans." When the martial artists around the valley heard this, their expressions became even stranger. Lin Xuan threatened Kai Lianyan and Zhou Yue. Now he actually dared to threaten Zhao Wenxing. Didn't he just provoke Zhao Wenxing, Kai Lianyan, and Zhou Yue? These three people were all geniuses, ranked in the 60th place on the Profound Essence list. Even in the central region, like the Mingchang region, they were still among the top. These three people would without a doubt defeat the third prince and Niyang King. Lin Xuan, a second level of spiritual essence stage warrior, actually dared to provoke the three of them at the same time. Does he not want to live anymore? All the warriors thought that they had misheard his words. But in the next moment, Zhao Wenxing's words stunned almost all the martial artists present. After Zhao Wenxing heard Lin Xuan's words, his face twitched and his expression became even uglier. He looked at Kai Lianyan and Zhou Yue, who were not far away, and heaved a sigh of relief. He said coldly, "Lin Xuan, I admit that you are very strong. I can't beat you." Kai Lianyan and Zhou Yue were also there. They were not weaker than me. With the combined strength of the three of us, we can even defeat a spiritual essence stage peak warrior. Can you defeat the three of us? Lin Xuan, I won't make things difficult for you. Hand over the two purple jade talismans in your hand, and you can leave. After saying that, he looked at Kai Lianyan and Zhou Yue. He said, Kai Lianyan, Zhou Yue, and Lin Xuan defeated me earlier, and he took one purple jade talisman from me. Now, Lin Xuan had two purple jade talismans in his hands. For the time being, let's not argue over our past grudges. The three of us will first work together to snatch the two purple jade talismans from Lin Xuan's hands. What do you think? His words spread out, and before Kai Lianyan and Zhou Yue could reply, the surroundings suddenly became noisy. Am I hallucinating? Zhao Wenxing actually said that he lost to Lin Xuan. Lin Xuan is only a second level of spiritual essence stage warrior, but Zhao Wenxing has already reached the 6th level of spiritual essence stage. How can the words of the proud Zhao Wenxing be false? Lin Xuan is too strong. He has just reached the 2nd level of spiritual essence stage, and he is already able to defeat the 6th level of spiritual essence stage, Zhao Wenxing. Zhao Wenxing is ranked 68th on the Xuanyuan list, and he has defeated many late spiritual essence stage warriors before. This means that Lin Xuan can also defeat late spiritual essence stage warriors. He has surpassed several realms. He is too strong. Lin Xuan is definitely a top genius who has surpassed the Mingchang region. However, even if Lin Xuan can defeat Zhao Wenxing, there are still Kai Lianyan and Zhou Yue. They are not any weaker than Zhao Wenxing. Can Lin Xuan defeat them this time? Lin Xuan will fight with Zhao Wenxing, Kai Lianyan, and Zhou Yue. This is going to be interesting. Everyone was talking about it, and they were all shocked. They all thought that they were hallucinating. They had actually heard Zhao Wenxing say that he had lost to Lin Xuan. After confirming it several times, they finally realized that they hadn't misheard him. They were once more astounded by Lin Xuan's terrifying strength.